CarolinaPrepper.com. If you're looking for quality food storage for hiking, fishing, hunting, basic survival needs, or just for everyday use, check out our food storage line at CarolinaPrepper.com. We also carry other fine quality products such as our can concealment holsters for men and women. Keeping your firearm under cover and within reach puts confidence in your hands in any situation. Our products are 100% American made. Check us out today at CarolinaPrepper.com.
And now, it's time to Stand for Truth with the host of Stand for Truth Radio, Susan.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Good to see you. Hey, Sparta. How are you? Trying to start it up again on Facebook. Hey, Robin. Good morning. Texas, how are you? Texas Walker, Christy, hello. Trump is wonderful. How are you? Pepper, good to see you. Millennial Mom, good to see you. How is everybody? Jimmy Kimmel is no good. Jimmy's kind of like the NFL who likes to take a knee. He likes to go out on his show and take a knee every night. Hey, Barbara, good morning from Texas. Hey, parody account here. Okay, good. Good morning. Hey, Marianne. Hello, Pepper. How are you? Thanks for the comment. Hey, J-Dog. While everybody is coming in and while you're retweeting this and inviting people, I'd like to read a section of the Bible from 1 John 4. I think as we go further and further into where we're at right now, that's really important that we know this verse and chapter of the Bible very intimately. So let me go ahead and talk to you about that, and you can see why. The spirit of truth and the spirit of error. Now he who keeps his commandments abides in him, and he in him, and by this we know that he abides in us, by the Spirit whom he has given us. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is of God. And every spirit that does not confess that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard was coming and is now already in the world. You are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. They are of the world. Therefore they speak as of the world, and the world hears them. We are of God. He who knows God hears us. He who is not of God does not hear us. By this we know that the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. So amen on that one. Again, hey, Bill, good to see you. That's a chapter and verse I think you should become intimately familiar with, especially now and where we are. Good morning. How are you, Nina? Good to see you. Yes, many out there speaking false and leading us astray. Rhonda, good to see you. Good to see everybody. So let's get started on just some breaking news. As we all know, the President and the First Lady are on their way to Puerto Rico. She wants every Trump voter you know, Rhonda, that sometimes what I do I didn't see that, but I try to sometimes ignore these people on Twitter because, again, demonic spirits are everywhere. And I have to think that when somebody talks that way after a tragedy, that's what we're looking at. Hey, Jerry, good to see you. So I've been trying to make it a practice where I just block and go. Some that have come in here, this happened yesterday, a person that was in here that kept coming and trolling. I kind of looked her up, found out that she basically was a new account, and it looks like something that was created to come in and troll. And I think it's connected to another person who comes in here. I think they're both trolls. And it's a shame because they want to come in and they want to disrupt and troll, and we don't have time for that, so obviously. So, hey, Barbara, how are you? How is everybody? Jerry, good to see you. And so let's talk a little bit about I know it's not surprising, Nina, but it's disappointing for sure. Hey, how are you, Chicago Pops? Good to see you. Let's talk a little bit about what we know about Las Vegas. What right now, what are you guys thinking? What are some of your thoughts? Let me know some of your thoughts about Las Vegas. Still puzzled on the Vegas shooting, Jerry said. Other thoughts? Hey, Marianne. Walker, Texas thinks there's two shooters. Rhonda thinks it may be Antifa involvement. You know, here's the thing. I was too many conspiracy theories. I exactly, Barbara. I think that too. I think it was more than what meets your eye. He was anti-Trump. Flashes from the fourth floor. A community is pulling together. It was only one shooter. Marianne said, Trump hater. Rhonda said, you know, I don't think we were told everything, and the media always lies. Robin said, shooter. More people are saying shooter on the fourth floor. I've been so disconnected from everything. I don't even have a clue what happened, Nina said. Well, you know, here's the thing. I want to kind of go with what we know and what we don't know. However, it's always a conspiracy theory that turns out to be accurate years later. Sea to Shining Sea said, I want to see his body and match it to the coroner's report. Political said. Others are saying that there were two shooters. I live here. The news is on 24/7 covering it. Hillary calling for gun control. Of course. Total confusion. Yes, see the two lights on the fourth and the second and the fourth floor. Here's what we do know about. Let's talk about the lights first. We know that on the 32nd floor, hey Kim, good morning. There were two windows that were busted out. Hey Spencer. Spencer said, I think he may have converted his weapon to full and not brought them that way. Hey Rhonda, good to see you. MSM have dehumanized conservatives and radicalized extreme liberals, Rhonda said. With the windows, there were two windows broken out. It was in the same suite that we know of. It was a large suite. One was in the main area and one was in the bathroom. Hey, John, good to see you. They say that, and they, meaning the police, have kind of reported that he probably fired out of both windows. And I think that's probably true because the angles were different of the shooting with different people that, you know, different areas that were fired upon. Also, there was a break after the first shooting. You could hear the break, and then it started again. I think everybody sort of breathed their sigh of relief, thinking it was over, people down on the ground, and then it started up again. So he either got a new gun, new rifle, went to another window, something to that effect. Now, as for the fourth floors, thank you, Jules, for the super hearts. The fourth floor or any other floor, there were no windows broken out. You cannot open those windows without breaking them out. So I think that, hey, Marlene, a lot of that it could have been lights. It could have been lights flashing from another building as well. There were no indications that any other windows were broken out. I don't blame anyone for this conspiracy theories, though. We're all looking for answers. Yes, Lori, absolutely. Hey, Gary, good to see you. Good morning. Asher said the shooting went on for over 19 minutes. There's a video of a cab driver. You can hear the shots coming from close and then far away. You know, again, the only thing about the windows is there were no broken windows, unless we're not being told. You know, there's nothing that indicates there were broken windows. Some people say they were flashes of light inside, and some, you know, like a light bulb. Some people were saying, hey, how are you? Some people were saying they may have come from another building, but there were no, it could have been glass cutter built, but there were no glasses that were even cut. The glasses were solid. And I've never heard that about opening of the windows. I'll go check about the fourth, below the fifth floor. I've never heard that those windows are able to be open. Heard shots coming from the Lexor Hotel. Here's the thing about it. I was listening to all the periscopes that night, listening to it live. Hey, Patrick, good to see you. And there was great confusion. There were a lot of people who were saying there's shots over at the Luxor. There's shots at the Tropicana. There are bullets at, hearing shots fired in other casinos. But the thing of it is, they would ask the people on the phone, would, the dispatcher would say, did you hear any bullets, shots fired yourself? And they would say no. So I don't know if there were ricochets. I don't know if there were actual bullets. I don't know if this was a distraction. Some people have said this could have been a distraction. Now, if they were going up and down the streets, because that's what I originally thought, that they were going from casino to casino and trying to kill people and actually doing that, and that turned out not to be true. It sounded like it that night that's what they were doing, and it turned out not to be true. I tweeted a video from a taxi driver, Asher, let me, if you would, give me a DM on that, and I'd like to take a look at the video. Yeah, kind of, exactly. It's a JFK thing. It's one of those things. Which is it? I know, Ashy. That's her new name. Maybe Tricky Rick, right? So, I don't know what the case is on that. Oh, that's okay. No problem, Carmen. So here are some other things that we know. This is what came from the police department. And this is what makes me suspicious that there is something more that they're not telling us in connection with ISIS. Now, I know that you've heard this about ISIS. They completely dismissed it right away. But the police yesterday, one of the things that they said is they found ammonia nitrate in, I believe, I can't remember if it was his house or his car or where it was. I don't think it was at the hotel or at the casino, but it was at his home or in his car. Ammonia nitrate. Now, ammonia nitrate is used for a lot of times for terrorists, like the homegrown terrorists, to make their homegrown bombs, right? That's what terrorists use. I don't know why a man who lives at a retirement center would have the ammonia nitrate and what he would do with it. Maybe some people say, well, making fertilizer. Well, I mean, that's kind of what it's used for sometimes, but this man was not a farmer that I know of. So it seems to me he used that for some reason. Now, I heard yesterday, or I was talking to someone, hey, Teresa, and they said that those windows were bulletproof. Now, that's not what the police said. This morning I heard that the police said that he used a hammer to break out the windows. I don't even know what to say on that one. I would like to find out more. Cully's saying they're not bulletproof. That seems really thin windows to be able to use a hammer, and on the 32nd floor, that you would want your customers in the hotel or in the casino to be able to do that is a little weird to me. But okay, why not just shoot out the window? Walker, unless he didn't want people to hear, maybe the hammer was quieter than shooting out the window, and he didn't want people to hear it before he started shooting. I don't know. I really don't know. Now, when we were told that ISIS took responsibility for it, I looked up about ISIS and taking responsibility. Typically, ISIS does not take responsibility for something that they're not involved in. Do they make mistakes? Yeah, they can, but it's rare that they do. And this news reporting came from AMAQ, AMAQ. I guess I'm pronouncing that right. That is their own news outlet. It's a propaganda news outlet that they use. And that's where that's where the statement came from, was from their own news outlet. And so people are saying that would be really, really rare for them to have made a statement that they're not, when in fact they're not involved in it. That doesn't mean they did it, but it could mean that the person who did it had some involvement with them in that they were, carrying out something on their own, but based upon their connections with ISIS and believing ISIS. Not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's a possibility, and it's also a possibility that ISIS was helping. Possibility doesn't mean it's true. So these are allegations. And they say that typically when ISIS is involved, they will issue a statement within 24 hours. And that's exactly what happened. So if you go down in the checklist, it seems very reasonable that if nothing else, they should be looking at that fact. Gary said his girlfriend was from the Philippines. There are 12 million Muslims there. Robin says, I'm not disputing that the guy shot from the 32nd floor, but I'm suspicious of what we are being told. I don't care who's in the office. We always get lied to. It smells like a terrorist attack. Spencer said all anyone really needs to commit an act of terror is a tire iron and a Bic lighter. That's American targets are everywhere. That's true, Spencer. And just because you say terrorist, again, it doesn't have to be connected to ISIS. A terrorist is somebody who terrorizes people, okay? And so whether you want to call this guy a homegrown terrorist connected to ISIS, whatever, he was a terrorist in that he terrorized people. There may be no other connections than that, but he did terrorize people. John said 23 weapons and thousands of rounds of ammunition. There has to be footage of him making a lot of trips in and out of the hotel. Could they have claimed responsibility just to raise the terror level here? Patrick, they typically, from what I'm finding, they typically don't do that. They don't do it just for the heck of it or for other reasons other than they were truly involved in some way. So, again, maybe that's ISIS. That's the only time ISIS is honest. I don't know. Regardless of what, the one thing is that the Islam and the Quran sucks. See the Shining Sea said. Now, and let's look at some other variables, too, that make this kind of suspicious that there might have been some involvement with ISIS. A conservative country music event that's going on. It wasn't something else. It was a country music event. Why Las Vegas? Why not someplace else? Well, I mean, a couple things come to mind. Again, this is all supposition, and I want to be clear about that. But the one thing, if you're Muslim, Las Vegas is not going to be a place that you highly regard. We call it Sin City, right? So the Muslims are not going to like anything like that. There are also some other things that we need to look at. That there was, higher victim count, a lot of people walking around, make a big statement. There was a statement that was supposedly put out by ISIS telling everybody not to go out in public places in the United States and in Canada over the weekend. So we have to put that in there too. So there's more evidence there that at least, if nothing else, we should be looking in that direction and having that looked at closely and not just dismiss it right away. Now, we also have to look at the fact that his father, according to the reports, had severe mental health issues. Is it possible that this man started to develop those mental health issues? I don't know. Would those mental health issues have caused him to do something like this? I don't know. But it's something that we need to look out after. Now, the police also said that there were 10 suitcases found in the hotel room. So 10 suitcases. People are saying, what I said, Teresa, was that the ISIS put out a statement over the weekend saying don't go to any public places in the United States or in Canada, and there was some other country as well. They were telling their people don't do that. And so anyway, there were 10 suitcases that they found in the hotel room. Now, I want to just reiterate, like I said yesterday, Las Vegas is always filled with throngs of people. I don't care what time of day or night it is. There are always a lot of people. Hey, Michael. And going in and out of there would not necessarily be something that would attract attention. Ann, good to see you. He could have taken all 10 bags at one time. He also had days. He had Thursday night check-in, Friday, Saturday, and even during the day on Sunday that he could have brought in 3 bags at a time. And nobody probably would have noticed. I mean, there are no guards standing around there. There's these, I don't know what you call them, like the strobe type cameras that are on in the ceilings. They look at everything. But mostly they're looking at people who might commit armed robberies at the casino, or somebody who's cheating at the roulette tables and things of that nature, or stealing things off of the customers as they sit there and they play slots. However, there's got to be cameras. Thank you, Why conservative? Thank you for the super hearts. There's got to be footage of him coming and going all day long. Now, I this morning, right before we went on, there was a video of him in 2011 at one of the casinos, and he basically fell outside of a casino. I can't remember which one it was. I'm sorry. Thank you, Barbara, for the super hearts. But he fell outside the casino. He sued the casino for $32,000. You can see him fall. You can see him walking, falling down. And you can see him bringing him back into the casino and taking him out on a stretcher. Hey, Coley, good morning. Forgot to say hi to you. So you can see that was in 2011. And exactly, let's see the current videos. Let's see what he's doing. Hey, Clint, good morning. I want to see how he's walking around. I would be curious if surveillance shows anybody else coming and going with him, Michael said. You know, I would like to see that too. Now, the only thing I don't know for sure is, are there cameras in the hallways of the hotel upstairs, let's say on the 32nd floor? I would think there would be, but I cannot tell you for sure. Cosmopolitan Hotel Casino. Patrick, is that where he fell down in 2011? Seems like it was more than one shooter. And Mike, like I said, I was watching the Periscopes live, and they were talking, different Tropicana, Luxor, other places were all saying that there were shooters and that they were hearing gunfire. And when the people were on the phone, the dispatcher was talking, they said, did you hear any gunfire? And the answer was always no. And they would say they saw people running and people saying that. So the video of OJ in the hallway, then there's got to be cameras in the hallway. My thoughts are, if he brought in that many suitcases, he could have brought in explosives and blown up the building. It doesn't pass smell tests. Weren't there 2 other attacks, Canada and one overseas, the same day? There was one in France and one in Canada. Robin, I think they happened on Saturday. Good morning, Ron. Good to see you. Supposedly, Paddock had 2 cameras recording the hallway. Get that video. Yes. Could be echoes as well, the fog of war. Yeah, that's what right now I'm thinking of. He lost his case and had to pay back the hotel's attorney legal fees. That's interesting. It will be at least days before any further definitive forensics are complete. Good question. Let's ask the webpage, The Religion of Peace, Gary said. The joke is it took 11 hours for FBI to say no ISIS connection. 11 months FBI can't find the Russian connection. Yeah, I've heard about that. Elevator cameras also definitely calling. Hey, Robert, good morning. And that's one thing that they should look at. And I wonder how much information that we're going to know. We need video. What's the holdup? I don't know if they're going to tell us that. Somebody else said false flag shooting. Okay, we're not going to be like racist in here. So if you're going to do that, you're going to have to leave. So casino is the most secure place. Is so odd. It is, but remember, as I said yesterday, Rick, there was a shooting at the casinos in August. I know I heard that OJ's attorney said, I hope they don't try to blame you for the shooting. So who knows? And there's this big supposition of whether the guy was killed by the first responders or he killed himself. I don't know. I mean, you could hear the SWAT guy say breach, 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 and then a bang. But that was the what he was using to flashbang. I didn't hear anything after that. Did he have contact with other people while there, restaurants, etc.? Jillian, or I can't read the name, sorry. I'm not sure about that. But I'll tell you, I guess, some other things. They're saying this morning that he had some AR-15s in the room and some other heavier tactical equipment, firearms that looked like that he had made them and taken them and made them into automatic rifles. Now, here's the thing I don't know. Some of you people, women and men out there, maybe you know a lot more about the guns than I do. Hey, Antonio, I heard that they had to explode the front door to his room. Yeah, they did something. You could hear a pop. It's sad we have a lot of fruitcakes, Ron said. But, I don't know how easy it is for you to know how to file things down in order to make it an automatic. Would anybody know that? I mean, you probably could look that up on YouTube and get that information. Easy to turn an AR into full automatic. Okay, Sippy said. Okay, so apparently that's kind of what he did. That's what they're saying anyway. He had $100,000 worth of guns. I've read it's fairly easy. Okay, Chris said. Just saving the steering wouldn't turn it into a full automatic. Okay, Cully said not hard to do. All right. So then obviously he either watched YouTube or had help. I don't know. Susan victims had different caliber bullets pulled out of them. And they said political that he did have different guns in the room. I heard there's a conversion kit to do that. Okay. The items can be made or bought. Sea to Shining Sea said. They're saying also that he bought a lot of his ammo at the gun shows. There are a lot of gun shows in Vegas. There always are. So he probably got a lot of them there. Let's see, what else? Now, let me talk a little bit about the woman they say is his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley. Right now, yesterday, the police officer at the briefing, hey, Ralph, good to see you. John said conversion kits are available widespread. You grind the firing pin down, Ron said. So yesterday, the police officer said that this woman was in Tokyo. Because somebody said, is she in the Philippines? And he said, no, she's in Tokyo. But we find out today, according to reports, she is in Hong Kong. And they say that she should be coming back to the United States this week. There is evidence of them traveling together. And they said that they've been together since 2013. So, I don't know if she's going to be able to shed some light on what's going on. So many lies about this woman. I know. I mean, I don't know what to believe about this woman at all. I don't know if she's over there on a business trip or something else. Rhonda said, where did he get money for all those guns and ammunition? Rhonda, what we're finding out is that he may have been a multimillionaire. Not sure if that's true, but that's what they're reporting. Asher, I believe trauma centers do these exercises. Josette said, good morning. Good morning, Josette. How are you? Spencer said, I wonder if they got his phone. I've known about homebrew full auto conversion since the 1980s. And again, some of these weapons that the left was complaining about, they've been outlawed since 1986. Can't have automatic weapons and things of that nature. Fox News ticker said she was visiting family in the Philippines. I mean, they have this woman everywhere. She's been in Hong Kong, Tokyo, the Philippines. I even read that she is in Dubai at times. Bill said that he's read that the shooter had 2 airplanes. They hope they're keeping track of his girlfriend. She could disappear. Why is it taking so long to get her back? I don't know if she's there on business or not. Hey, Hassan. Hey, Donnie. Good to see you. Not stop shooting till the mag is done and he would have to reload. The story is just wacky. Doesn't make sense. There's something missing. Hey, Linda, good to see you. There's absolutely something missing from this story. Something we're not being told. It doesn't add up. I mean, the biggest thing is a 64-year-old man. Now, I read this yesterday, and I'm not familiar with AR-15s nor machine guns. I have fired an M16, but that's it, okay? So, and that was a long time ago. Somebody said that a man his age holding that weapon and having it heat up and what it took to hold that weapon would have not been very possible. Now, maybe you guys in here who have guns, weapons like that, you could tell me if that's true or not, or if that's even something we should be looking at. Who is the woman that told people at the venue 45 minutes before the shooting that they were all going to die? I know, Michael, that's interesting. I've seen that from various reports. He was a retired accountant, multimillionaire, Antonio said. Danita Cohen said they did a mass shooting exercise for a music concert last year. That's what Asher was saying. That was a terrorist attack, Asher. Rhonda said, okay, if it is terrorism, sure POTUS would tell his base. Trump calls a Trump a spade, Rhonda said. And Barbara, I think he did, some have great bodies. In 2011, watching him walk down the street right before he fell, he didn't necessarily seem to be in great physical health at that time. Of course, that was 2011. And, who knows? I don't know where if he had been drinking or whatever, but he didn't look like an athlete to me. So Spencer said, I seriously doubt the weapons were ARs myself. Trump can't talk as freely as the rest of us, Gary said. Yeah, they interviewed his brother, and he can't fathom what he did. I know. His brother is just absolutely shocked. Trump is in his 70s. He's strong as an ox. Yes. And Texas Walker, Texas, I think he's the exception, not the rule. Trump is. A 308 will shoot 1,000 yards. I have the same gun. It's a semi-automatic. So, Ron, is there any problems with you standing there firing a gun for that long? Is it, is that age-based? And that, that was an odd thing that I saw. And I'm thinking, is it really age-based for that? Antonio says, I love my POTUS. Not true in my opinion. I have shot M60s and other very high-powered automatic weapons. He could have done it. That's, Patrick, that's what I was thinking. I've fired shotguns before, and I could have kept firing shotguns at my age or any other age, and it didn't seem to be a problem, and I know that's more powerful, but still, what's the issue? May have been AR-10s, not 15s, Spencer said. It does not make sense, Josette said. Very powerful. He did have a tripod. They were talking about had tripods. Now, Bill Clinton is the same age as Trump, and he looks like he's 115. That's Walker, Texas. That's absolutely true. Heard he had tripods for guns. Yes, that's what I heard too. So that he could have set them up, no problem. They say he had makeshift shooting tables in the room, Michael that makes a lot of sense too. They least suspected caliber power here is .308. Yes, they had talked about that. Clinton looks like he has a disease. Clinton, he is very thin. He has connections to private security firms. Really? How did you hear about that? I haven't seen anything on that on the news. Could everybody, if you will, would you please retweet this and invite more people in at this point? Invite your followers. Just retweet it on Twitter. I would really appreciate it if you would do that. At this point, at the halfway mark, please. Doesn't take much to pull the trigger. No, Robert, it really doesn't. He worked for private security firms prior as an accountant or manager. Thank you for retweeting, everybody. Hey, Lisa, good morning. I didn't see you come in. Other officials, let's see. He could have had a trigger spinner, but the firing was too consistent for that, in Spencer's humble opinion. Gatling gun, Gary said, .308. Thank you for inviting your followers. It was so sad. I found out yesterday, the victims, in reading their stories, very, very sad. There were a lot of men who shielded their wives. One man died. They'd been married a very short period of time, from Tennessee. Also, I found out yesterday that an attorney from San Diego was there. She was 42 years old, a family law attorney and a criminal defense attorney. She was killed in the firing there in Las Vegas. So there were a number of people. They're reporting on them today and who they were. Some mothers of a lot of kids, and it's very sad. Yeah, there are going to probably be a lot of lawsuits. Buy auto means every time the trigger releases and resets, it shoots, so it shoots twice in one pull. They also, I don't know if you saw, but the Eiffel Tower went dark last night for Las Vegas and the Marseille victims from what happened in France over the weekend. We are not getting the facts, Asher said. I agree with you, Asher. We're not. He very well could have had a trigger crank. There's so many things. And again, I don't know if, I know, Cully, just heartbreaking stories. My gosh, some people there celebrating, different events and different anniversaries. No, it did go black. Tricky Rick, I saw it. Why doesn't the shooter have kids? Where are the kids? I don't know. I don't know if he was ever married. I'm not sure. Hi from Las Vegas. It's crazy out here. They still doing the investigation. Arthur, what do you think happened? Do you think he acted alone? Do you think there were different shooters? What's being talked about in Las Vegas? What is remote and what's a name to call? Oh. know it went black. I'm just saying I didn't like it. Yeah, it felt really weird. I think he acted alone. I really don't know. Yeah. I'm feeling the same way, Arthur. I feel that, he may have been influenced by ISIS, I mean, but I think he probably acted alone. He certainly had the money to do it. He had the money to buy all those weapons. I think the real thing here is, why did he do it? He has an ex-wife who lives in Encino, California. Good to hear you. Yeah, I try, Carmen. I try. It just need to stop because my sister was in shock. I'm at the hospital. Is she still in the hospital, Arthur? If was your sister at the concert? Oh, wow. Sorry for you. I hope your sister gets healed very quickly, and everybody else in the hospital. I saw pictures of the hospital that they had so much blood on the floors. It was like they didn't even have time to clean up the blood off the floors. There were so many people. I think there could have been another shooter. Don't know, Cully said. I hope we get to the bottom of this. I hope we hear information about it, Mike, and that they don't just keep it from us. Josette said, could one man really have done all of that? A young lady from Tehachapi is fighting for her life, extensive liver damage and internal bleeding. She was shot twice, a best friend of our daughters from high school. Oh, Michael, let's pray for all of the people that are in the hospital in Las Vegas. Pray for all the people who were put in shock from all of that. You keep hearing there might be another shooter. Yeah, I just don't know. We pray for the quick healing of everybody in that hospital in Las Vegas, and all of those people who witnessed all the trauma that night and how their lives are forever changed. We hope that they are healed and get back to as best as they can. Which one, Marlene? Prayers for all of them, Robin said. Absolutely. You're very welcome, Arthur. Tell your sister that we are praying for her. His ex-wife. What did the ex-wife say, Marianne? She has oh, okay. You're welcome, Arthur. I wish that we could do more. I think that people in Las Vegas yes, absolutely, pray without ceasing. They were lined up so much for so many hours. They were saying it was taking 6 to 8 hours in order to give blood, and there were so many people that turned out. They were saying they were making appointments for them and telling people just to hold off, that they couldn't take anymore. He appears to have been married twice and no kids. So weak high, let's not bother people. Let's be respectful. If you want to stay in the room. People waited for 14 hours and could not give blood, Marianne said. I mean, there's just so many people. And see, again, that's America, who calls and gives death threats. I mean, really. Rick, when I was watching the Periscope, like I said, when I was watching the events happening live, people were in Periscope just cracking jokes about what was happening, being extremely disrespectful. I mean, it was just absolutely unbelievable that people would do that when other people were dying. Hey, Sandra, good to see you. And other people were being taken to the hospital. I don't know what happens to somebody that would make them so devoid of compassion. People have no compassion sometimes. Why are you surprised? Because you know what? I think people can do better. That's why. Those could be plant trolls, though. Yeah, they infiltrate social media. I know, Rick. I know they do. We had, like I said, people who did that yesterday to me, and were trying to go after other people on my Twitter feed. If you see somebody like that, just block them. I think I think the girlfriend probably does know more. Those are the Trump haters. Those are people that are actually paid to come and sit and do that all day long. No sympathy, no empathy, no compassion. They are miserable and want company or bots. Yes. CBS person said she didn't feel bad. That CBS person, I'm happy to say, was fired. and she should have been fired. And they didn't take long. They fired her within an hour. Let me see if I can find exactly what she said. I wrote an article last night at SusanKnowles.com. It talks about her. Her name was Haley Giftman Gold. She was a CBS vice president and top legal executive. She said, if they wouldn't do anything when people were murdered, I have no hope that repugs will ever do the right thing. I'm actually not even sympathetic because country music fans often are Republican gun toters. She wrote that on her Facebook and then deleted it. She was fired. And again, you should be fired. You say things like that, you should be fired. Really couldn't believe she said that. I literally thought maybe she was hacked. Yeah. No, you could only hope that she was, but no. I'm in Vegas. So many had their headlights on during the day showing respect. That's really nice. What about the Twitter fool that wants all Trump supporters? Yeah. Okay, Gary, have a great one. Thank you for coming by. That steel storage assembly people took shelter in was so far away that the range versus penetration characteristics that makes it easily possible to rule out and any round below a .308 or so. There was somebody else who was talking about things yesterday as well. Let me see who that was. Terry Moran, an ABC News chief, foreign correspondent, somebody said in their article, casting any sense of journalistic objectivity. Here's what he said. A Muslim commits an atrocity, right-wing media instantly politicize it, pass the travel ban, U.S. mass shootings, don't talk about guns. People tried to yesterday talk about gun control when people were in the hospital trying to survive. Other people, their bodies weren't even cold, and you had people out there doing that. They want us to feel alone. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. 3 million has been raised. Some country music fans are also liberals. Exactly. Some country music, not just the fans, but some of the players, some of the singers are liberal as well. No doubt. Yep, such as Hillary Clinton. One of the guitarists at the country music festival who played there, he's a guitarist for Josh Abbott band, said his entire life he had been for 2A and for Second Amendment, and now he said, I can't express how wrong I was. We need gun control now. So he's one of the guitarists. And Spencer made a good point. He could have just as easily stolen a truck and mowed down the crowd. And we've seen that before, right? They're so lame and predictable. Seeing two chiefs took a knee last night. I saw that one Kansas City chief sat down during the national anthem. Some of the other news that we haven't really talked about because so much has happened. 2 pilots were killed when a T-45 training jet crashed in eastern Tennessee on Sunday. The 2 pilots, an instructor and a student, did not survive the crash, according to the Navy. Their names are being withheld. Again, that was something that we didn't know because of everything that was happening that we were talking about. Equifax also announced on Monday that an additional 2.5 million individuals have been potentially compromised during the massive cyber breach earlier this year, bringing the total to 145.5 million. And the Kansas City chief who took a seat was Marcus Peters. Do I tell any good news? If I have good news to tell, let me tell you some good news. Good news is that Sarah Huckabee Sanders has a heart. Sarah Huckabee Sanders understands compassion. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is a human being. As she was giving a report yesterday and talking about how she felt about the first responders in Las Vegas, she choked up and she was, exactly, thank you, Marlene, that is the best news. Jesus died for you, yes. She was choked up and holding back tears. Ann also brought up a good point. She said people can make guns and get guns on the black market. Automatic weapons are already illegal. Right, Ann, very true. Hey, Eric, good to see you. And that's something that, that is good news. God is using the helpers. Yes, she does. Sarah is A-OK. I think Sarah is one of the best press secretaries that we've had. Well, Jesus didn't die for you, but you know what, Jeffy? Jesus could die for you if you repent and allow Jesus into your life. And then you will know that he did. She was great. The reporters right after Yolanda, had to say, okay, let's get into gun control. I mean, they went right there. Even though she was saying, we're not going to talk about gun control. We're not going to politicize this. That's exactly where they went. I did notice yesterday that the tempo was down a little bit in the press room. They seemed a little bit to hold back and restrain themselves just a little bit yesterday, which was great. Yep, Sarah does a great job. Yes, she does. Here's some other great news. The College of the Ozarks in Point Lookout, Missouri said, not only does it intend to stand in support of the national anthem, including all athletes and coaches, but so will its opponents. If not, the Ozarks won't play. Jesus offers a gift. It's up to us if we want to accept it. Absolutely, Ann. Hey, Think, good to see you. So you may want to contact the College of the Ozarks in Point Lookout, Missouri, and tell them how proud you are of them and that you stand behind them. They're going to go home in the event that the other people were not standing. The one who's saying there's no connection because he was white doesn't mean that he didn't convert to Islam. Don't be ridiculous, and try not to be racist when you're talking about white people or any other race for that matter. Did you hear of a shooter on the 4th floor? Yeah, I think we talked about that a little earlier, that it could have been, some people are saying that the windows can be removed below the 5th floor. I have not heard that. I did not see any windows shot out below the 5th floor. So, yeah, it's okay, Think. You can just, replay it. I'm so glad that in America we are starting to talk about Jesus. Yes, more people are. There was also a vigil in Las Vegas last night with pastors there. I think that's a really good thing. I think we should be doing that, not just when something like that happens, but every week at least. Islam is not a race, correct. What he was doing was talking about white people, and I said that's a race. And Islam, any race can follow Islam. It was confirmed he was not affiliated with any religion. You implying a connection to kneeling? No, you are. You're the one implying that. You've been saying that now for like 5 minutes. But animosity toward Christians is high. That's true, Rhonda. Could be a strobe light. Absolutely, Robert. There were so many lights. Just as you know, there's so many lights on the strip. Pray every day. Read your Bible every day. Now is the time. Absolutely. And, I started the entire show today with 1 John 4. You need to read that. You need to remember that. You need to carry that with you everywhere you go. And that will help you with your discernment. Discernment right now, you need to have more than any other time in your life. You need to understand the discernment. And continue to talk about Jesus. That's right. Anyone can walk into CVS and walk out with enough bomb-making materials to do some real damage. Anything can be used to make a bomb, Spencer said. And that's basically true, Spencer. Read it again before the close. Why don't I read it right now for those people who are just joining us? It's very important. The spirit of truth and the spirit of error. Now he who keeps his commandments abides in him, and he in him. And by this we know that he abides in us, by the Spirit whom he has given us. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is of God. And every spirit that does not confess that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard was coming and is now already in the world. You are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. They are of the world, therefore they speak as of the world, and the world hears them. We are of God. He who knows God hears us. He who is not of God does not hear us. By this we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. And I'm serious. Read that again and again if you have to understand who is the author of the book. God. The choice of weapon is not the problem. It is the state of mind. Some people only accept the results of an election if they win, and when they don't win, they advocate violence and property destruction, etc., Michael said. Yes, Yeshua. Amen. You know, one other thing that I forgot to mention, you're very welcome. Think I'm going to be doing that. I do that every day. So please join us every day. Please share this every day. It is so important right now for all believers to understand what that discernment is all about, and to understand who the false prophets are and who is not, who is of God and not leading you astray. It is very important that you understand that. That's why I've said to you over and over again, quit following people. Quit listening to people who are telling you this is what's happening, this is what it is, and all that. You have to understand, focus on God, do your own research. You can listen to people, don't follow them. Please, don't follow people. Many tweets say they want to kill Trump supporters, and said, also November 4th. Thank God for the Holy Spirit's guidance, Nina said. Absolutely. You're welcome, Yolanda. Thank you. And this is something that we've got to keep talking about. There are too many people that are coming out. They're trying to benefit themselves, trying to get you to follow them and believe them and be their little followers. Please do not follow people. Yeah, folks, that means those who tell you to chase your best life now are leading you astray. Some, you've just got to use your discernment. That's all I have to say. Also, here's some other good news for some of you people, I guess. Milo, everybody knows Milo. Milo supposedly got married yesterday over the weekend to an unidentified African-American male. The ceremony took place at the Four Seasons in Hawaii. According to his Instagram feed, he said his husband's name is his longtime boyfriend, John. Over the years, he's described him as black and Muslim. A source close to Milo describes John as a personal trainer from the Dominican Republic. So there you go. Some of the other stories that we didn't, I just wanted, you might have to just do a replay on that. I just wanted to tell that one once. Talked to someone earlier who was like, we need to do something, so the only thing they know to do is gun control. I said we need to turn back to Jesus. Yes. Milo, M-I-L-O. Hope Milo had him sign a prenup. Milo is the guy who claims to be a conservative. He's gay. He used to work for Breitbart. He's the guy at the controversial, freedom of speech type thing at UC Berkeley. Most people know who Milo is. Hello, Texas Kilo. How are you? Yes. Yiannopoulos. Milo Yiannopoulos. It's hard to say his name. Clean your lives up, people. The time is now. Let's see. California. This is a story. Again, we talk about how important our children are, and Milo's a good speaker and said most do not care who he is. Sorry, that's And again, I'm reporting news. Whatever. California law enforcement officials are looking into a massive shipment of colorful children's flutes given to the students at multiple elementary schools, which reportedly were contaminated by a male music teacher's body fluids. Let's just say that. So they have told everybody that, take away the flutes if they were handed out to your children. Again, you have to protect your children. You really do. Yes, it's disgusting. They were saying that basically, yes, a male music teacher is being accused in California of putting his fluids, his body fluids, on the elementary school's flutes, their children's flutes. Don't know why anybody would do something like that, but I'm just reporting that. Some other news too. Pray for the protection of the children. Absolutely. Our children are under attack. They really are. They're under attack from so many ways. From schools teaching your children, sexualizing them early about subjects that they shouldn't be taught at an early age, subjects that I feel that their parents should be teaching them and not a school or not anyone else. Yeah, he needs to be checked, right? Exactly. So where did the flutes come from? I don't know. I don't know if it's so important as where they came from, but what happened to them afterwards. Yeah, I don't think that. And Robin saying homeschool. Robin homeschools. He's probably a pedophile. Marlene said. I don't know. They didn't say anything about it in the report, of course. Other things were a coach was kicked off 2 Texan high school football players off their team. This happened on Friday when they took a knee during the national anthem. Basically, a senior knelt and a sophomore, who was a cousin, I believe, put their fists up in the air during the national anthem and knelt down, and they were kicked off. They said, I don't have any problem with those young men. This is what the coach said. We've had a good relationship. They chose to do that, and they had to pay the consequences. The coach was an ex-Marine. And so anyway, they're no longer on the team. Good for them. Sicko, Josette said he's a sicko. And, I don't know why else that you would be doing that. Yes, and Tom Petty, there was a lot of talk yesterday whether he was dead or alive. They first talked about that he had passed away, and then that story was later retracted, saying that he had not passed away, and then he passed away. I believe it was late last night or early this morning. So it was late last night, I think. Why don't I talk about female teachers raping young teen boys? Perhaps you should come into my scopes more often. Vendors in restaurants feeding victims and hospital staff, in Marianne said. Las Vegas too, it was so wonderful how the casinos have opened up their doors and have allowed people who are coming there who lost family members and family members are in the hospital to allow them to come there and to stay for free. Other people who are coming there and they're giving them free food. Las Vegas is showing again what America is, who Americans are. It's absolutely wonderful. Tom was a Florida boy, Marlene said. Wow. He had a massive heart attack is what I heard. Yeah, it's so good to hear. Why would a woman want a young boy? I have no idea political. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Maybe a Mrs. Robinson type who thinks they want to teach people something. I have no idea. It's disgusting, but I have no idea what to get into their minds. Damaged satanic people, Rick said. And again, I know this sounds funny, but I think some people, and in the times that we're living in, we're going to see so much more evil that some of these people, I'm not even sure that they're human anymore. And I mean that. And when the Bible talks about there are demonic angels that can be amongst us, and good angels too. I had a young son and whipped that butt to be a man, Political said. So, perverts come in all sexes and ages and sizes, Asher said. Absolutely. Turned over to reprobate minds? Yes, Rhonda said. Absolutely. And again, that's why it's so important not to turn your children over and expect someone else to be taking care of them. So, because you're the ones that are the only ones that would take care of your children the way they should be taken care of. The depraved minds are created out of sexual revolution. Romans 1, Sea to Shining Sea said, people who've refused God, pedophile, cannibalistic, goblins. No. Yeah. Thanks, Susan. You're teaching truth. We need to hear it as a nation. Thank you. I'm trying to. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here today. I really do appreciate it. God bless you. Let's keep Las Vegas in our prayers. Also, if you will, keep Shauna. You know, her mother passed away earlier on Friday, I believe it was. Time's flying so much I don't even know. She's still grieving. Please say a prayer for Shauna and her family in regards to her mother. Thank you guys for being here. Please retweet this if you will. And we'll see you again tomorrow. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much on YouTube for being here. God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.